Uh, all right, I think these are on. What's up, guys? Welcome back. This is video number 1 of my 100 video series, and we're just gonna go ahead and dive right into it. I highly recommend that you guys either find the time to watch this while you're doing something else, whether you're driving to work or whether you just need something to listen to while you're cleaning, because there's not much that's going to be going on the screen. Maybe a few pop-ups of some incorrect grammar that I might speak on, because I am not perfect when it comes to speaking, especially when I'm speaking from a flow state. Or feel free to take notes. I definitely have a lot of experience, a lot of years of studying humans and the psychology of their brains and minds, and I would hate for it to just go to waste. This is really intentional for people to try and implement these pieces of information into their life as best as they can. So just setting that intention and putting that out there. But I'm not going to waste any more time. We're going to go ahead and dive right into it. So this is my notepad. I was going to say it's my journal or my notebook, but it's not a book. It's just a pad. And I write in red because red is passion, and that's all that I have for you guys. So today I want to talk about specifically, you have to love your goals more than you love your friends and even your family. Now, the reason that I wanted to talk about this today is because I feel like in the chaotic world that we live in the just confusing times, especially when it comes down to dating or being a Gen Z, someone in their early 20s, trying to figure out how to make it in this world. There's obviously people that have made it, have great businesses, have great lives, great careers, and everything like that. But I believe it was a study that said 40% of people who have gotten their college degrees are actually working in a field that is not around their college degree, or are not working at all to what their supposed degree is supposed to be paying them. And that is really heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking to hear. And I just feel like the most important thing for people to understand is that if you are not on your path to meet your goals of where you are trying to go, it's natural for your body and for your mind to try and find comfort or coping in something that will distract you. I know for me personally, I love my friends, and if my friends are watching this, thank you guys for tuning in and actually watching this and supporting me. I don't really expect anyone from my hometown or from my social media to support this, because I have a totally different side of myself that people perceive me as when I'm actually with my friends and out and about and stuff like that. So this is definitely for an audience that probably doesn't know me very personally. But the one thing that I do know is I love my friends very much. And through, the recent breakup that I had, that I'll probably talk about later in another video, and even through just how tough the world is, with inflation and how expensive things are, and, my job just being able to afford the bills, which is something that I used to say jokingly, like, oh, this job pays the bills. But it's like, dude, like I'm 24 years old now. I kind of need something that's doing a little bit more than just paying the bills, So to be in that situation, I find that with the little bits of money that I do have, I've been pouring it a lot into things that make me feel happy. And the reason that happens is because the way our brains are designed to operate is our brain works like water. It's going to take the path of least resistance. If there is an opportunity for your brain to experience instant gratification, for your brain to experience easiness and not put you in a state of stress, it's going to gravitate more towards that, which is why I am very, very selective. Excuse the background noise. I do live with my family, so they might make some noise in the background, but regardless, which is why I'm very cautious about how I try to motivate people to stop bullshitting, excuse my language, to stop bullshitting and focus on their goals, because I understand that you are literally going against the fabric and the natural pathways and the natural programming that your brain has intended for you. Your brain is here to help you survive. It's here to help you it's here to help you survive, not thrive, if that makes sense. So things that are uncomfortable, like hard work, it's not going to come easy to anyone. I mean, you have to literally establish a habit of hard work. You have to find the joy in hard work to kind of trick your brain into enjoying it. But I'm going to digress a little bit, because I do feel like I'm just pouring information into a subtopic. But to digress back to the main topic of, you must love your goals more than you love your friends, something that I always like to remind myself is, when you are granted life, you are guaranteed death. And when I tell myself this, the full saying is, you are granted life. When you are granted life, you are guaranteed death. So what you do in between that time is up to you. Now, the reason I like to reiterate this to myself quite often, especially when I find myself kind of like, lunching out or being just lazy and lethargic or unmotivated, especially when it comes down to like spending a sufficient amount of time with my friends or with my family or doing things that are not putting me in a position to achieve my goals and reach that next step in my life. Um, is that, dude, like when I'm spending time with my friends, like, of course, this is a limited opportunity and that's the way that we like to perceive it. But the crazy part about it is that everything in this life, everything in this world is a limited opportunity. The number one thing that people take for granted every single day is the idea that they're going to wake up tomorrow. It's kind of interesting to think about, but that's something that really boggles my mind. And it's something that I actually experienced from being in a relationship with a woman that was very grounded and very understanding of just how delicate life can be. Even to the point where driving home and like very stern about, when you get home, let me know when you're home because shit happens. And I get it, like the whole perceiving of, friends and opportunities and it being like that. And I know even for most people, it's not really that deep. It's just an opportunity to go and take a break and cope with the stress and the hard work, or even the absence of wanting to work in general. But the crazy part about it is, as you're spending time with your friends, as you are avoiding your goals and your responsibilities, the entire world is moving around you. And even crazy enough, not only is the entire world moving around you and moving forward, your biological clock is still moving forward. You're still getting older. You're aging. You are slowly turning into a gray haired, if you still have hair, raisin, unfortunately speaking. So when we think about these opportunities and these times of, y'all saw those lasers? Am I being attacked by aliens right now? Oh no, my family's setting up Christmas lights outside and they have like lasers that shoot on the house. But as time moves on and we find ourselves still in the same rut of cope, it's hard for us to sit here and decide otherwise. Simply, I'm just gonna pause this video for a hot second and put a blanket over the window because this is really distracting. Okay, so back to what I was saying. As the world continues to move forward, and as you are still stuck in the same spot of going out with your friends every weekend, or maybe even focusing on the drama that's going on with your friends or even your family, you have to realize that eventually there are going to be moments where you're going to look in that mirror and realize that you've wasted countless days, months, weeks, even years possibly, on time with your friends doing almost the same thing. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but if you start to take notes on what you do with your friends when you go out with them, you find that you do almost a repetition of the same thing, but just with different variables. Like for me, for example, one thing that I love to do with my friends is I love to go out and socialize and also drink. I'm not a heavy drinker, but something about the I call alcohol social lubricant, because whenever you're out and about and you get that liquid confidence inside of you, you just start making friends with everyone, and you end up making even better conversation with the friends that you already have. So it does kind of play into that whole, positive reassurance, positive affirmation, positive, can't find the right word for it right now. So it does kind of play into that whole aspect of wanting to neglect and do what's comfortable, neglect your responsibilities and do what's comfortable in that moment. But I've been keeping a mental note of the things that I will do for the last month with my friends, and it's go out to a bar, go out to a club, go out to a party, maybe even just go and meet up with your friends and just be with them. But the little changes that happen in those same situations, it doesn't overall change as a whole. It's just a different variable that adds into the same thing that you're doing every single weekend. And I found that, as much as I love my friends, like I love my friends, I absolutely adore them. The guy friends I have is probably the most solid group of guys that I've ever had in my life. But I for so long I didn't even realize it, but I was choosing to love them more than I was loving my goals. I have so many aspirations and so many ideas and so many great things that I want to implement into my own personal life and world that were being put on pause or being halted, or even just being slowed down by a significant amount, simply because I was choosing to take the easy route, the path of least resistance, by going out with my guy friends at any available moment and just going out, spending money, getting drunk, or whatever the case might be. And it sucked. It really sucked when I came to that realization that, a whole month has gone by and the things that I could have accomplished if I were to really stick to my goals and love my goals more than I loved my friends, I could have achieved a lot more. But, I try to give myself grace, because like I said, from the outside looking in, when you have people that are telling you like, don't you want this? Aren't you scared of being broke? Aren't you this and that? All those motivational videos. It's like, yeah, it gets you hype, it gets you pumped up, and it does kind of bring you back down to a grounded homeostasis. But at the same time, it's like you have to understand that it's not just willpower, it's not just desire, it's not just a choice. It's more than that. It's the fact that our brains are literally making us our brains are hyper focusing on the things that make us feel good and trying to push away the things that make us feel challenged or stressed. So when we understand that on a humanistic level, there's a level of how hard it actually is, and there has to be grace and also respect given to people that not only make the choice to focus more and lock in with themselves, but also for people that are lacking and people that you want to motivate in your life. You have to be very calm and patient with them, because like I said, if your brain is focused on trying to avoid stress and hard work, why in the world would they sit over here and listen to you when you're over here yelling at them and stressing them out? It's not conducive to motivate someone from that perspective. So that's definitely an important part, but I'm going to digress a little bit more and kind of change gears. So one thing that I also wanted to talk about is I wanted to talk about what is the purpose of life, in my personal opinion. And I was meditating, and I don't want meditation to turn off anybody. I just like to sit in total silence and just allow my brain to kind of catch up with all the experiences that have happened in the world. You're consistently taking in information, but how often do you sit and allow your brain to kind of unravel and organize the things that you've experienced and allow you to really process it? I don't feel like people do that enough, and there's been even studies that have shown that that's really good for your brain, but I'm not going to get into that right now. But I was meditating, and something I realized is or something I to came to my consciousness, came to my consensus, I downloaded, however you want to say it, is life is meaningless until purpose is applied, or the purpose of life is to live. I couldn't decide on which one I agreed with more, and I guess as I'm talking about it now, I come to realize that you can say that the purpose of life is to live, but what are you living for? I mean, if we're really talking about living, what are the parameters of living? What are the definitions of living? What defines living? Because the crazy part is that your heart is going to beat no matter what. Your blood is going to flow no matter what. You don't think about taking breaths of oxygen, so you're going to breathe regardless. Your brain is going to think, and even more so, the craziest part about that is you're so not in control of your body maintaining living processes with just you doing nothing, that you don't even think your own thoughts. Like, let me ask you this, and I want you guys to let me know in the comments. I know it sounds kind of cheesy to say let me know in the comments, but I really do want to hear what people think and what people feel about these types of questions and topics that I present to them. But do you think that you think your own thoughts? Do you think your own thoughts? And I don't want to sit over here and alter your answer before you're able to leave a comment, so I'll give you a few seconds. 1, 2, okay, there we go. But I'll tell you my answer. I know that I don't think my own thoughts. I know for a fact I don't think my own thoughts, because if I think my own thoughts, then who's the one listening to the thoughts that I'm thinking? Am I thinking my own thoughts and listening to them? I personally don't agree with that. My personal philosophy is I don't think my own thoughts. I just entertain the thoughts that come into my head. But the main reason that I bring this point up, even as a whole topic, is because if the purpose of life is just to live, then you're not necessary you're if the purpose of life is just to live, then you're essentially dead, because your body's going to live regardless. Your body is going to beat its heart, it's going to breathe through its lungs, it's going to think, it's going to do what it does until it is dismantled or it is simply out of commission and you really are just like lifeless. So there has to be purpose applied to life. There has to be purpose applied to life. You have to find your purpose. Now, I'm not going to get into too deep on the psychology or philosophy or spirituality of, are we born with purpose? Do we have this? Do we have that? Just as a little side tidbit, there has been studies that have shown that we are born with inherent traits that are resemblance of our parents. Like if our parents were good at math, we will more likely be prone to being good at math. If our parents were good at sports, we're more likely to be athletic, so on and so forth. So, but that's like a whole another thing that I'll probably make a video about later. But the reason I even bring up the life is meaningless until purpose is applied is because when you talk about wanting to have goals and loving your goals more than you love your friends, the problem with most people is that they will have goals, but because they are not consistently pursuing them every day in and out, they are being told that they're lazy, or they think of themselves as being lazy. But in all reality, it's not that you're lazy, you're just unmotivated. There's a very big difference. Like they're almost twins. They're like a mirror between lazy and motivation. Laziness is neglecting your responsibilities, your due diligence, and your goals, and being happy about it. You're okay with that. It's like, oh, I'm okay. Like I'm gonna wake up today, do absolutely nothing, and I feel good about it. But and this doesn't apply to like taking breaks from work and like that type of stuff. But being unmotivated is neglecting your responsibilities, your goals, and your due diligence, and being unhappy about it. And the craziest part about it, or not the craziest part, but the part that I like to focus on is when I wake up and I am not pushing towards my goals, pushing towards the things that I know that I want to do with my life, pushing towards the things that I know would make me a better person. I have to reanalyze what it is that I'm really asking from myself. I have to reanalyze what it is that I'm really trying to pursue here, because there's a block. There is something within me that simply does not inspire me or motivate me enough to get up and do this. Now, discipline is one thing. I get it. You know, maybe you don't want to hit the gym, so you're feeling like a little lethargic, whatever the case might be. That's totally different. That's totally different. And the reason I say that's different is because anything that involves physical labor is always going to kind of make you a little bit hesitant, because like I said, not only do our brains not like doing hard work, but when you do hard work and there is a physical result, a physical discomfort that comes after it for the next few days of being sore and maybe being tired and not being able to lift your arms all the way because you had a killer shoulder day, killer arm day, yeah, you're gonna start messing with your brain, because your brain's like, okay, what I just did caused me pain. I don't know if I want to do that again. But that's where discipline comes in. It's like you have to be disciplined, because if you want to see the results, you have to push through that and understand that that pain is really gain. That's where the whole, oh, no pain, no gain type thing comes into play. But when it comes down to mental work and emotional work, and when it comes down to the actual philosophy of life, there has to be a different parameter that we are basing these goals off of, because we don't necessarily feel the results of doing or not doing something. All we see is the change in our life, the change in our environment, the change in our social group, the change in our bank account, the change in even the way that we handle social interactions. That is where we see the change or the result of doing or not doing something. So because you're not totally, because the results are not within us, it's on the external, it's very easy to miss signs and cues, and it's very easy to be downplayed as something that isn't serious, as something that isn't meant to be taken note of. So when we have our goals and we are setting our goals, it's very important that we're setting goals based off of things that really motivate us. Like I'm talking about, you can lay in bed and you feel your toes curling from how excited you are about the result of doing the things that you set out to do, or about how bad life will be if you don't do it. There's two sides of it. Just depends on, you know, the situation and the type of criteria that you're really working with. But but that's something that I also want you to keep in mind as you are trying to improve yourself, and as you are trying to really work on your life and make better choices with your life, is that you have to be motivated with the goals that you have set, or else you will not accomplish them. And I promise you this, you will not accomplish them. If you do accomplish them, even when you do accomplish them, you will not be as happy as you would have been if your goals were in alignment with what you really wanted to do. And I'll give you a prime example. I am a prime example for this. And Mom, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. But for about the last year or so, I've been really pushing hard to be in the tech field, the tech career, stuff like that. And this is one of those moments where it's like I am not motivated by my goals. Like I will easily miss a day of studying to go to the gym. I'll easily miss a day of studying to draw, to read, to write, to go out with my friends, whatever the case might be. I still excuse me, I still am locked in when it comes down to studying because I have accomplished 2 out of the 3 certifications that I do need. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Clap it up for me, because those certifications took years off my life, bro. They were extremely stressful. But the one thing that I know is that even being in the tech field, making the 6-figure, working from remote and stuff like that, I still will not be as happy as perhaps me making a living off of just making videos and helping people. I could make I could make less money helping people and making videos and interacting with people and trying to figure out why they're thinking the way they're thinking, what advice do they need, and how I can help them, and still be more content with my life than to be in a field where I'm making more money, but I'm doing something that doesn't motivate me or inspire me. Tech does not inspire me. I don't have a desire for tech at all. The only reason that I'm really pushing for tech is because, as we know, with the economy and even in the dating pool for males, if you're not pulling in the big bucks, you're not going to be able to afford a house, and you're not going to be able to have a woman that can look at you and say you are worth the time and worth the value. And unfortunately, we get a lot of pushback from women saying, oh, we don't care how much money you make. But at the end of the day, from the consensus of men that sit here and say, yeah, like my ex left me because I was too broke, or I got tired of asking my girlfriend to buy me stuff and she ended up going off with some other dude that made more money, or our relationship wasn't as fulfilling, it's because, dude, like, if you're really trying to be a man, and this is just for men, and maybe the women that are listening to this can kind of take this and say, okay, like, there are some men that still think this way, but as a man, you shouldn't want to protect and provide. I'm just telling you that it is within our nature to be the most fulfilling position for us. It doesn't matter if you want to or not. I promise you, when you make that check, when you are able to have a woman that you love and adore, and you can blow the bag on her, you can protect her because you're training mixed martial arts like I do. I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai, and I feel extremely more confident, so much more confident in myself, especially when it comes down to going out on dates and even being out in social settings where possibly there's a girl in our friend group, and, like, I feel like I can hold my own. Maybe a little bit more than that. But when you're able to throw down the cash, throw down the card, and not have to second guess or worry about it, that's when you're able to drop your traps, drop your shoulders, and feel like, okay, like, I don't have to worry. I'm in control. I'm the man. I'm here. It just feels better. Yes, it's harder. Yes, the work is it's a thankless job, and you won't ever really get the credit for it as a man from the people that receive the benefits of your hard work. But at the same time, when it comes down to being a man, being a man is a thankless job. But the benefit of that is that, dude, it's a man's world. Like, we live in a patriarchy. Let's not be ignorant now. We live in a patriarchy. Men run everything. We're inherently stronger. We build buildings. We do all these electrical work, plumbing, sewer, all welding. You already know. Like, I'm not going to sit over here and be anti-manist, but also be feminist. I'm just right in the middle. I understand both sides play a very quintessential role to creating balance in the world. But at the same time, as being a man, I can only speak from my perspective of being a man. So I kind of went on a little tangent there. I'm sorry about that, guys. But the last thing that I have to say is I have 3 things to leave you guys with, and 1 challenge that I want you guys to try out. So the one thing that I want, actually, these 3 things are challenges for you guys, but they're fun challenges. They're going to require for you to, they're going to allow you to get to know yourself a little bit better, and they're going to actually put you in a position where you can become more self-aware and become just have more, be proud, put you in a position to be proud of who you are, because you know who you are, you know your skill set, you know your talents, and you know what you're here to do. So the one thing that I want you to do is personality. Guys, go online, look up 16 personality types, and take that personality test. You know you got the right one if you see, like, little characters, just like, I think 4 different sections, just like 4 characters that are yellow, 4 characters that are blue, 4 characters that are green, 4 characters that are like purplish, reddish, whatever. It's the 16 personality type test, 16 type personality test. It's 16 in there though somewhere. Take that test. Take that test and take it authentically. Don't think about what your friends might think of you or what your parents have tried to implement on you. What do you feel if you were able to do and make decisions without being judged by anybody else? Take that test. For anyone wondering, I am an ENFJ/A. I don't know. It's either ENFJ or ENFP. I'm not really sure. I'll have to come back to you guys on that. But take that test. When you learn your personality type and you're able to do research on what those types of people are and the way they think and the way they understand stuff, it's going to add like a layer of smoothness into your social settings and your work settings, because you're like, okay, I'm not struggling with this because I'm bad at it. I'm struggling with this because this is not inherent to my personality. This is not my cup of tea. It's not what I'm here to do, you know? So number 2 is spirituality. Now, for people that are religious out here, I totally respect that. Personally, for me, I'm not religious. I have been a Christian for a very long time. Ironically, my name is Christian. And I do believe in God still to this day. But I also understand that, I have found aid in other things that have been able to help me figure out myself and figure out the world without worshiping something outside of God. And the biggest thing for me is not astrology, but astronomy. Now, it correlates into astrology, but understanding the pull that planets have on Earth actually lets you know a lot about how things work inside of our bodies. Like, for example, our bodies are 70 plus percent water. So when the moon goes through its different phases around the Earth and it pulls on the tide, it's also pulling us. It has to. We are majority water. So of course I know there's going to be some science groups like, oh, the moon doesn't do that. It doesn't work like that. It's like, all right, bro. Well, look at the scientific data. Look at the statistics that talk about how on full moons there typically is more crime. It's weird. I can't explain it. That's why it's called spirituality, because it can't really be explained. But for people that say, oh, the moon doesn't work like that, it's like, my only thing that I would have to say to them is, okay, so if you believe in God, how can you explain it to someone else if you have never seen it or experienced it or science can't prove it? You know what I mean? I just be spitting all the time. My bad. But yeah, spirituality, get into your astronomy, get into your astrology, understand your placements and the houses and stuff like that. Not necessarily because you have to live by it. And if you're a Pisces or if you're a if you're one of those things, you're going to be like this. No, I don't judge people based off of their zodiac sign. But the one thing that I do understand is that when we are born, the planets are in a certain position. And because of our solar system being so counterbalanced by each of its planets spinning around the sun, we have to give acknowledgement to the fact that if one planet were to fling off into the middle of space, the whole solar system would destabilize. So every single planet plays a role into the way that we have come to be born, in the way that it pulls on us. Even and I know for people that are religious, they're probably gonna look at me and be like, okay, like, this guy's a load of baloney. But we have to even, give our respects to history. The Greeks, that's how we say it. Yeah, not Greece. Greece is the country, Greeks are the people. The Greeks even acknowledged Mars is the planet of war. And when you find the correlation between astrology for Mars to be the planet of like aggression and stuff like that, and if you find out the cycle of where it was when you were born, you might be more or less in this blah blah blah, all that type of stuff. That's just a recommendation. You don't have to do it, but I found that for me, I had one girl sit over here and give me a full reading of my chart, and I didn't believe in this crap, but after she did, I was like, dang, like a lot of these things are really, really what I am. Like, these things are really legitimate representations of what I am and what I'm about. So maybe if I study them a little bit more and I start paying attention to the stars and the planets, I might be able to come to an understanding about what cycle am I going through right now in my life, and can this possibly give me some insight as to what's going on. If you're the type of person that likes your suffering raw and you don't want any help or assistance, then please by all means disregard that. But for me, like, there's been certain cyclical things that have happened in the solar system that when I looked it up, I was like, oh, so this is how it's affecting people that are attached or assigned in this particular house or this sign or whatever like that. And I'm like, damn, that's exactly what I'm going through right now. Hold on, let me pay attention to what's going on here. So, obviously it's not all 100%. It's obviously some wiggle room. Like it may not apply to everybody, but it is still nice as a little cheat code on the side to kind of like know what's going on in your own personal life. And the last thing is experience. So we have personality, spirituality, and experience. Never be afraid to expand your horizon. Never be afraid to expand your horizon. It doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter how experienced you are, it doesn't matter if you have a kid or not, single or taken or not. Never be afraid to expand your horizon, because you don't know what you're capable of, and you don't know what doors would open for you if you're not even in the building. If you're still sitting in your car, and I'm not even going to make an analogy for this, you guys probably understand what I'm talking about. If the more experiences you have, the more opportunities you have to go outside, to go to a different state, different country, different city, different, even just go to a different neighborhood, maybe do a lap or walk around to a park, you find that these doors of opportunity to experience stuff will open for you. And if you're aware of it and you can kind of like have a sense for it, it will help you establish more information about who you are as a person. It'll put you in a position to where you can fall in love with the deeper version of yourself, because from right now, from what we know, I'm not going to lie to you, a lot of what we know for most people is mainly from what we can relate to on social media. But if we switch that around, and this is actually correlates into my final challenge for you guys, and then I'm wrapping this video up. We're already over time like crazy. I wasn't even trying to go this long. But the more that you experience out in the world, I'm sorry, a lot of us are operating on things that we know about ourselves from the very little experiences that we have, but from a lot of the things that we see on social media that we feel like we can relate to. We feel like we can relate to it, but until we've actually experienced it, we don't really know for sure. And there's not a lot of people out here that are just simply going out just to experience, just for the ambiance of being outside and being around other people and just being social and talking and stuff like that. So I really challenge everyone to go outside and experience more. And this ties into my last challenge. We have personality, spirituality, experience, and screen time. I don't mean to sound like your parent or whatever like that, but it's them damn phones. I'm trying to tell you, it's them damn phones. If you have an iPhone, go ahead and open up the widgets and add the screen time to your main homepage. And I want you to start tracking how many hours you spend on your screen. The reason why I say this is because even though there is a lot of benefits to having a microcomputer, our phone in our hand all the time, it's not used as a computer. If you literally were able to have access to a computer with a regular keyboard and mouse and everything, you wouldn't even know how to use it to its full potential. You probably just end up watching YouTube or maybe reading a book on it, if you're even able to have the attention span to read something for that long. But essentially what I'm saying is, if you were to take the hours that you spend on your phone and equate it to how many hours you could actually put onto a computer, you wouldn't be able to find enough things to do on a computer to keep you entertained. So what I'm really trying to get at is, monitor the hours that you spend on your phone, because you are wasting life. You're wasting opportunities to go out and experience. You're wasting opportunities to maybe actually go and read a physical book, or maybe even just buy a Lego kit, and I'm not going to harp on the video games, because I do know people that spend an unhealthy amount on video games. I play video games, but I would even rather you play video games than to scroll mindlessly on your phone, just swiping away on the TikTok mainly, bro. TikTok is just boo. There's a lot of cool information on TikTok, but the crazy thing about our brains is that if we find a video that's 30 seconds long with good information and then we scroll past it, we instantly forget about it as quickly as we acquired it. If we're not taking that and saying, oh, this is interesting, let me pause the TikTok video, go to Safari, do more research on it, learn about it, implement it, practice it, and make my lifestyle around it, and we can start learning from it. But we're not learning anything from TikTok. The most that you could say is, hey, I saw an interesting fact on TikTok, like this was cool, right? Oh, tell me more about it. I couldn't even recite the whole video because I don't even remember most of what it was talking about, So monitor your screen time. And to help you understand where your screen time is at, the way that I do it is I break my 24-hour day into 3 8-hour segments. 8 hours for sleeping, 8 hours for work and 8 hours to get whatever I need to do to get done or relax or whatever the case might be. So if you find that you're spending 4 or 5 hours, on your phone when you're not at work, of course, if you're at work and you scroll a little bit, like you're getting paid to do what you need to do, but you could be more productive. But if you're just at home and you find yourself on TikTok scrolling for 4 hours, that's 4 hours of your free 8 hours that you could have done something productive. I was a victim to that. I used to spend 12 to 13 hours on my phone, like screen time wise. I don't know how, because I had a full-time job. So that means that I was on my phone for 8 hours, and then I'd come home and be on my phone for almost another 8 hours. So I don't know, but regardless of that, that's all that I have for you guys today. I really hope that I was able to touch somebody or really speak to someone on a more specific situation that you're going through right now. Again, like, I'm not doing this to blow up. I'm not doing this to become famous. Or my phone ran out of memory, but guys, this is me signing off. I hope you took something from this video, and yeah, just know that I'm doing this because I love you and I don't want to see you suffer any more than you have to. So I hope that you guys benefited from this. Take care.